Good morning. Well, it is for me. It's about 11 o'clock here, and I know it has been a long time. I haven't been well. In fact, none of us here have been well. So yeah, doing the best I can to get some energy together today to make contact. Episode 20 this will be of Facing Mortality. I know some of the important topics I've promised to talk about are sort of what I have done on this journey in terms of who did I see and supplements I took and all that sort of thing. Well, I don't know whether I would call this would be the good, the bad, and the interesting, I guess. I have spent a fortune on this journey. I've gone through the private health system for a lot of things, only because I had insurance through work, which I've continued, but I don't know how much longer I can continue those payments. My premiums have gone up $100 a month since the annual rollover, and I don't have any money coming in. I haven't claimed the sickness benefit yet. They just seem to want to know every single thing about me, which I find interesting given that I've paid taxes for over 40 years and I'm in this state because of working hard, and now I have to try and fight to get some money. But that's not what this episode is about. What I'd like to do in this episode is cover a mixture of things, because I think it's probably going to take me 2 or 3 episodes to tell you what I've been through in terms of trying to save myself, going down the alternate route, and also see what it's like to be at the end when you're needing hospital care, when you're really dependent on hospital care. I've just been visiting my father in hospital. He's not well. And the hospital up north here is a mess. And apparently the doctors and nurses were all on strike, I think, a week or so ago. And I'm not surprised. They are understaffed. I don't know if there are people internationally watching this, but we have a social system here in New Zealand. And I mean, I walked into my father's room and the floor had crap, as in crap, on it. And I had to ask someone to come and clean it. I mean, why do you have to ask someone to clean it? And my father said to me that he had this incident where he dropped his toothbrush on the floor. Now that I've described what the floor was like. And he dropped the toothbrush on the floor and they just picked it up and gave it to him. He said, "No, I want a new toothbrush, please. I'm not using that." I mean, you put it in your mouth. I mean, is this what people would do at home? It's like the moral compass has gone from some of these people. I don't know. And I would like to talk about this actually in further detail, and I will touch on it probably in bits and pieces. But let's get started on my story after being told you're terminal and require palliative care from now on. So let me tell you what I did next. So the last physician I visited when I was told, I went to this alternative physician who did vitamin C treatments, and I don't know if I've told you the story, but anyway, I'll say it regardless. My mother and I sat down and he said, okay, well, we've got a trial treatment here, but that's going on, but that's full. And vitamin C, that vitamin C IV, I think, yeah, we have a lot of success with that in terms of killing cancer. But in your situation, I think it's time to sign up to hospice, you know, which is where the dying go. So I signed up anyway and did vitamin C IV for a little while. And then I got introduced to this trial project that they had been working on. But prior to the trial project, and even before I was diagnosed, I don't think I told you how I had gone to try and find out what was wrong with me. And I had gone to a naturopath, and I had also gone to a psychic. So there was this psychic who was quite famous in New Zealand, and I had a chat with her, and she believed that she could help me over the phone. And she would hold this, you know, apparently, because she used to do a TV series, and she even got offered loads and loads of money to do a big, you know, TV series or another TV series on it, but she turned it down. Anyway, with me, would be on a Zoom call or something, and she'd be holding this big teddy, and she would talk to the surgeons. And I wanted to know if I had cancer. And apparently she would feel ill inside if I did. And anyway, we went into this session, you know, close your eyes and all the rest of it. And she was told I didn't have cancer and that I was all clear. And at this stage, I had cancer in the colon and the rectal area, and I had it in the lymph nodes around the lower back, and I had it in the liver. Now, I didn't know this. Obviously, she didn't either. So she confidently told me that, no, I didn't have cancer. I can't remember if there was anything wrong. I can't remember now, but it was nothing for an alarm bell to go off. And I've actually had that happen again since. There's these guys with these machines, and they would check your blood for this worm that's been introduced via the air or something. And I had my blood checked, and sure enough, like everybody else, I had this worm, but otherwise I was okay. And anyway, they had these other machines that could check to see if anything was wrong with you. And obviously, as this only just happened not that long ago, I went in extremely skeptical, knowing what I have, knowing what this body has got. And I did the test where you put these earphones on, and don't ask me what the earphones and how they can connect to this computer from Germany or wherever it was from. But it went through and there was nothing wrong. And I said, oh, so if I have cancer, does that mean I'm okay? Will this pick up cancer if I've got cancer? And he said, yep. And I said, well, even the smallest amount of cancer, it will pick it up. And he goes, yep. So I knew that I had, at that stage, which, because it wasn't so long ago, cancer in the colorectal. I had cancer in the lymph nodes, which was pretty active. The liver hadn't changed, so there was still there, but the radiation seemed to have sort of halted it. And a new spot of growth in my top right lung. This machine picked up nothing. And everyone was lining up to get checked and all the rest of it. And my girlfriend said to me at the time, are you going to tell them? And I said, no. But I have told people since, you know. I mean, I have used a machine, but it has picked up a cancer. And I will talk about that. In fact, I'll just make a note to talk about it if I haven't already. I think I have. But yeah, so that was interesting. I don't know if I've told you about the naturopath. The naturopath who, before I was diagnosed, she wanted a hair sample to be sent off to this place that would tell you what you're deficient in and all the rest of it. And as time went by with her, I was waiting for my results. But just in the short amount of time I was dealing with her, because it was towards my actual diagnosis, that I had been dealing with this naturopath, she went and said to me, no, you're okay. Because, so the point I want to make of this story is I had said to her, oh my gosh, it's got really bad. I'm in major pain every time I go to the toilet and there's blood coming out now. I said, something is really wrong. Not once did she say, you need to go and see a doctor. This is serious. Not once. She said, your results will be with us soon and then we'll be able to find out what you need to eat and not eat. I'm not trying to discredit psychics, people with hocus pocus machines and naturopaths, not at all. I think everyone has their place. But my situation was pretty obvious. It wasn't like I had a speck like what's been found on my lung through the MRIs. You know, there's definite cancer there. You know, I feel it. But according to these people, I was in good health. So I'm going to continue, as I said, I'm probably going to make about 3 episodes at least on this. But one of the things I did was for the vitamin C IV. And I think it's really important because vitamin C in high doses, I don't believe I had high enough doses. And there was a clinic on the shore that actually pushed the boundaries with the doses, but where I was going, they didn't. Vitamin C IV is not cheap. You can't have this disease and look at alternatives if you don't have any money. My opinion on that is that that's wrong. I had money because, as I've told you in previous episodes, my boss looked after me financially, or I would have been in the same situation at the time. And I would actually recommend probably everyone gets vitamin C IV from time to time, to just book in if you can afford it and do it, because it's really powerful. It doesn't last long in your system, unfortunately, but it can do a power of good. I can remember when I had my amalgam fillings changed over to plastic ones. Plastic was all I could afford, and they told me at that time, they suggested doing a vitamin C IV. They had all the equipment to make sure the amalgam didn't go down my throat and stuff. But I didn't go for the vitamin C, and in hindsight I should have done that. But I think just as a maintenance thing, you know, just every now and then go get a vitamin C IV done. It won't hurt you. It'll probably do your body a world of good in terms of trying to help it. Another thing that with cancer is, that's been a correlation with cancer from the studies I have read, is apparently we're low on vitamin D. Apparently we don't take enough, and the minimum, your doctor can get you a vitamin D test, but if you arrange it yourself, this is here in New Zealand, if you arrange it yourself, you have to pay for it, and I think if you pay for it, it's about $80. The vitamin C is pretty expensive. It's like $300 or $400, maybe even higher, depending on where you go. But vitamin D is, so, you know, you can get, when you get your tests done, you have boundaries where you're at a minimum level or a maximum level. And I think those, my understanding from what I've the information I've come across is those levels should be much, pushed to the right, that the minimum level is way too low already. So get your sunshine. It's good for you. There is a book on mitochondria, and he talks about sunshine in it. I'm going to do a list of books that I've read on this journey that I think are really helpful. But the sunshine, first thing in the morning, is the best time to sit in front of the sun, or go to the beach and be in the water for the sun rising, for sunrise, and have no sunglasses so the sun can get in and penetrate. Apparently that's the best way to get your sunshine. This thing about staying away from the sun is destroying us. It's weakening our bones. No matter how much milk you drink, milk to the bones, although it's full of calcium, without a doubt, it's also acidic to the bones. So vitamin D is really important. Vitamin supplementation, especially through winter, and if you're prone to illness, through the summer too. I'm not a physician. I can only go by the research that I and others have done in trying to help ourselves on the journey. And as for something completely different that I'll finish off on, because I'm going to do a mixture of things I've taken and people I've tried, as well as what other alternatives are out there. So I'm going to finish off on mistletoe. So I did some research on mistletoe, and apparently mistletoe is a cancer killer. I never did it in the end, and the reason I didn't do it was because I had spent so much money on this journey. I was running out, I don't have, when you're sick, you have no money coming in, and you have everything still coming out. And unless you're loaded, it's hard. So I never tried mistletoe in the end, but I do know someone who had stomach cancer stage 4, and he did the mistletoe from Germany, and the Germans are pretty onto it. I don't believe it worked for him, but I think for lower cases like maybe stage 1 or 2, it could be worth a shot. As I said, I am not a physician. Everything I say on this video is my opinion only. What you take from it, you just have to do what I did and do your own research and see if anything resonates for you. I'm assuming psychics might not be high on the list if they were. But I'm 18 minutes into this video, and I will try and do another one as soon as I can. It's not through lack of time, it's through lack of energy. I've just been beyond exhausted. My weight had dropped down to between 47 and 48 kilos now. I look really quite skinny. I don't know if you can see my arms. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but so it's been great to try and connect with you guys. I would love some feedback on these topics. I don't get a lot. In fact, I don't think I've had hardly any lately. I'm basically wanting to know what you would like to know, and especially with going down the supplement route and alternative treatment route. If you found anything in this video either entertaining or helpful, let me know. And otherwise, but my next video will be on other things I've taken on this journey, and I've had quite a bit. So you can see I'm wearing my cross. We're in very interesting times right now. People seem to be being slaughtered all over the place for being Christians. It's quite a scary world out there at the moment. So anyway, God bless you, and until next time, all the best.